robots are coming for our jobs.
They took our jobs.
AI is going to put all of the artists out of work. Well, maybe not, but AI is already here and it's raising all kinds of ethical and legal questions.
The US government just did something huge. They opened up questions around AI and copyright to the American people. What happened precisely is the US Copyright Office has just announced that they have 3 main questions they want to ask the US people. Questions are how AI models should use copyright data in training. That's 1. 2, whether AI generated material can be copyrighted even without a human involvement. 3, how copyright liability will work with AI. Now, these are 3 huge questions to ask going forward, because as of now, there's already been copyrighted work submitted to the US government.
Oh my God. What are you saying?
To see if this can hold up, right? To see if these AI images will hold up in court and whether they can be copyrighted and protected with or without a human involvement, as well as if it's fair that a lot of these huge large language models like ChatGPT, Claude 2, Bard, are they able to train on materials that are broadly used online on the internet, even if they're copyrighted? So there's coming up on a lot of questions about that, even with how copyright liability should work with these large language models like ChatGPT. So think of it like this. Let's say you have a art style that you've done, maybe a cartoon, an animation, some music, writing, poetry, and now you submit this work out here to be bought and sold by other people. But now this AI, artificial intelligence, came about, read your work, maybe free, maybe not free, maybe it posted on some type of blog, is now using your work to train this model, who can then spit out many different variations of your work and improve upon it using other people's and other artists' work, just like yourself.
That is not fair. That is not fair!
Now, some people are saying that's not fair because, 1, this thing that you're using from me is my work, my soul work that I bought, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into, and I put it for sale. And I have it copyrighted, so it's mine. Is it fair that then people could come about and then just read this and completely take this information, this material, and rip it off and have a machine at that, right? Just a machine be able to just reproduce this, change this and tweak this and try to make improvements and then resell it?
Hell no!
Some people would say that's not fair. But on the other hand, there are some people who would say, well, as a human being, that's just what we do. That's how we learn. That's how we gather information. Have you heard the saying, there's nothing new underneath the sun? Well, it's kind of a true statement, right? How many movies that we've seen have, beginning, middle, end, right? That's not a new thing that the movie theaters brought up. Even songs, they have a nice cadence, intro, interlude, a beginning, middle, a hook, They have these standard variations that come to making songs. Though you hear a lot of artists that said they've got inspired by other artists. They say I may have been inspired by Van Gogh. They may have been inspired by different rappers, different singers, and different artists alike. So is it fair that they can take the work of these other artists that they may have heard on the radio for free, maybe heard on YouTube, or any other thing for free or for low prices at one time? And if they don't own the copyright to it, they can still take inspiration, almost learn themselves how to make that same type of rap style and improve upon it themselves. And then they can then go ahead and sell that. Is that fair that they can do that? I mean, they're human. So maybe it's different because they are human. And a human should be able to take inspiration and things from their surroundings to be able to create art. Because that's what art is. It's the experience humans have in displaying it in different, mediums, movies, films, music, poetry, or whatever.
I'm afraid he has a point.
So I think there's a lot of questions to be said about how we should treat this. But as of now, they're opening this up today. And all the way to October and November, they're, accepting submissions, written submissions to be sent in of how you should answer this. My personal opinion is it's kind of tricky. I think technology in general is, here to stay. I think it wouldn't be fair to just be able to just take out AI and not let AI train on a lot of this information that's freely and readily available on the internet. We see this all the time with like things like memes. Memes take, inspirations from copyrighted stuff all the time, and then people post it out there. People are using this, Instagram, Facebook, a lot of social medias, and as well through text, without having to, credit the original, source creators for any of that type of work, and they can even also improve upon it. When it comes to this type of thing, when it comes to AI, it's kind of a tricky subject because tools like Photoshop that do photos, right? Even though you do have some human input when it comes to creating the photos, these tools do make it really powerful for you to recreate different artist styles within Photoshop. They even have different like filters that automatically mimic certain artistry or artist styles. Same thing you say with video creation when you think of Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro or any type of video editing software, CapCut for example. They also have these tools that help enhance the power of video creation, and these are technologies that are kind of mimicking some of the ways that people may have done this before video creation, and that didn't stop them from being able to make art. I do think it does need to be able to include human input, because Premiere Pro and all the other tools still need human input. But I guess that really asks the question, how much human input? Because even with these art styles, these photos and everything being created now, they are having human input, just not as much as you may need back in the day when like you had Michelangelo or something, mixing paints and creating new different ways to create different art styles and pieces. Photoshop can do that on your computer at a fraction of the time. It's more time consuming than AI, which now, well, you can just type in a few sentences, a sentence, maybe a few words, and you can spit out something better than maybe something you could do on Photoshop that would take you a few hours, maybe even something better than an artist could do that could take a few days, maybe weeks or months. So I think we should look towards our past to predict our future. Basically, we've seen this in the past that a lot of these technologies have been accepted as long as they have human input, and that if it's solely AI based, I don't think it could be copyrighted, or at least should not be copyrighted. It should be out there for the public, for the masses to consume. But I think that's ultimately up to y'all to tell me what y'all think about AI and whether you think this is a good thing for the people, and whether their answer to those three questions: how AI models should use copyrighted data in training, whether AI generated materials can be copyrighted even without human involvement, and how copyright liability will work with AI. I talked about something like this in another video where it talked about this car in California that went rogue and crashed into a fire truck. Who is the liability on? Who takes responsibility for that? And ultimately, should we even have this in the first place? That's it for me. That being said, your boy Dex Not Dexters.